Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to start learning about the 5 nutritional macronutrients, which are fat, protein, carbohydrates, water, and electrolytes. We're going to start talking about fats first, and you'll understand why shortly. You're going to learn everything you need to know about fats. Now you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say. Fats are evil, they give me heart disease, they raise my blood sugar, and so on. Well, if you're thinking like that, you're going to be in for a big surprise, okay? Let's review a bit of history, okay? The anti-fat craze started in March 1984 when an article came out in Time magazine claiming that butter is terrible for our hearts, and that provokes heart disease and so on. From that point onwards, the government and the whole media started an anti-fat crusade, which continued only until maybe 1 or 2 years ago, when science has finally discovered that fats aren't so bad after all. Actually, fats are very nourishing if consumed properly and if we consume the right fats. This whole anti-fat craze started when various researchers misinterpreted their research results, and they just published it, and everyone just went berserk. As a consequence of this low-fat nutrition based more on carbohydrates, um, although the health statistics from 1984 weren't too bright either because of various health factors like sitting too much, driving too much time cars, and not walking enough, and so on, besides other factors as well, we can directly track the fact that since the low-fat nutrition guidelines entered the public consciousness, the health of our state, of our population, declined significantly only from this, besides the other factors that also encouraged this decline in health. Okay, so what I would want to expose to you is the idea that natural fats are not only good for you, but they are also healing. And this is in fact true for your diabetes as well, as you'll soon find out. Fat does not increase blood sugar. In fact, fat helps lower blood sugar. In fact, fat is the only macronutrient that doesn't raise your blood sugar. Okay, the macronutrient that raises blood sugar the most is carbohydrates, and next one is protein. And protein is it's much safer, so to speak, but not entirely. Okay, so only from this point of view, if you want to see it like that, if you will only accept one argument for this, it's this: fat does not increase blood sugar, and it's the only macronutrient that doesn't do so, and actually it helps lower it. And when I mean fat, I actually refer to the right kind of fats, the natural fats that are found in nature, not the artificial processed ones. For example, the best types of fat that are healing and that will help you reverse your diabetes are fats such as coconut oil, which has tremendous other benefits and uses in many other domains like dermatology and digestive health and so on. Olive oil is also great. However, make sure that you don't use olive oil for cooking, because it releases some compounds that are not very healthy at high temperatures. That's why I would suggest using olive oil only on salads. Butter is also a health food, contrary to the 1984 article from Time magazine. Beef is also exceptionally healthy if you get it from the right sources, like if it's organic, if those cows are raised in a right environment, and so on. Cocoa oil is absolutely fantastic and great for cooking, and eggs as well. Eggs are some of the best superfoods on the planet. Other great foods that are high in nourishing fats are macadamia nuts, coconut, any other coconut products like coconut milk, coconut flour, coconut flakes, and so on. Unpasteurized dairy. So when I'm saying unpasteurized dairy, make sure that you don't get your dairy from the supermarket, because most often that dairy is pasteurized and it's full of additives, full of sugar, and so on. Those products are terrible for you. So do not consume those dairy products. Instead, make sure you buy your dairy from local farmers. Okay, and I would suggest avoiding consuming dairy from cows, because they're very allergenic, and chances are that you won't tolerate them too well. Instead, I would suggest you consume dairy from goats, which is the highest nutritional source of dairy. Okay, it's the healthiest from all animals. Okay, fish is also a great food high in fats. There are also some fats to avoid, obviously. These fats are called trans fats and polyunsaturated fats. Okay, these you'll always find these fats in processed foods. You'll never find them in natural healthy foods. For example, the worst types of fatty foods contain vegetable oils, such as canola oil, soy oil, corn oil, and so on, which again are present in processed foods in general. When I mean processed foods, I mean any food that is packaged or put in plastic and so on. Okay, generally speaking, you have to avoid any food that's man-made. Okay, this is a great principle to follow. Also, I would suggest you exercise caution when you eat some natural foods that are higher in polyunsaturated fats, such as pork. I wouldn't suggest eating pork more than 2 times per week, and even then, make sure you buy that pork from the highest quality source possible, from the healthiest source possible, like organic. It's well raised in natural conditions, and so on. Okay, so no more than 2 times per week eating pork. And also, I would suggest exercising caution when eating nuts and seeds. I wouldn't suggest eating more than a handful every day, because they also contain carbohydrates, which can raise your blood sugar, and beyond that, they're also high in polyunsaturated fats. So this is everything you need to know about fats. This is like a very short introduction, but believe me, if you don't need to know anything else, okay, because otherwise your head would explode. That's what I did for you. Okay, I studied this stuff for like 10 years, so that now I can give you everything summarized in 10 minutes. So keep everything we talked about in mind. Eat only natural fats. Fats are extremely good for you, and they can heal your diabetes. And make sure you avoid vegetable oils, and exercise caution when eating pork and nuts and seeds.